Top 5 mobile marketer pickup lines. Number 5, hey, what's your LTV? Number 4, I ran the numbers and your ROAS is so hot. Number 3, honey, if you could just click accept, I would like to install my SDK right now. Number 2, there's an API for everything, baby. Number 1, my UI might be a 5 out of 10, but my UX is off the charts. Welcome. This is Mobile Heroes Uncensored. It's mobile. It's all about mobile, smartphones, what we're doing, what's going on, mobile marketing. It's about heroes, people who are making things happen in mobile marketing, the leaders of companies, the executives, but also the people behind the scenes making stuff happen. And it is uncensored. It's going to be fun. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a little off the hook. We're going to have mobile marketers here having fun, talking, playing some games, revealing each other's deepest and darkest secrets, perhaps, and possibly, against all odds, maybe even learning a thing or two. My name is John Koetsier. My co host is Peggy and Salz. We'll usually kick off with a little bit of news. We'll bring in experts, mobile heroes on a topic that's relevant. We will have a couple jokes, and Peggy will rate me on those. And she's now German, so I'll definitely fail on that. We'll have some silly games. We'll have occasional nuggets of insight and fun so that you can justify this time to your boss. We're not going to take ourselves too seriously. And this is brought to you by Liftoff, so we might have the occasional shameless plug. Okay, let's get started. So, Peggy, what's new?
Oh, I get some hot headlines here, right? Number one, Facebook just dropped their Gaming Insights report for 2021. So, tons of insights on player behavior from thousands of gamers.
I suspect the big insight there was buy more Facebook ads. I saw the report; it was kind of cool. A lot of stuff in there. You know, they had stuff that we've seen before. There were more gamers in a pandemic. What a shock!
Mhm.
We knew that already, right? What was interesting and talked about a little bit, and there's actually more details out there as well in other reports. There were a lot of mergers and acquisitions in gaming in 2020. Facebook said something like 22 billion. I've seen other
Mm.
reports that said up to like 43 billion dollars of just Zynga and EA acquiring companies and little mergers between small companies and mergers between big ones. So a lot happening in space.
Absolutely. Saw the same report, a lot about advertising. Brings me to the next one. Nielsen introduced cookieless ad tracking, surprise, tracking, right? Online activities, how people responding to advertising.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're trying to build something that's going to allow them to still be able to tell you how your advertising is working. And that's important, obviously. The interesting thing is they're really kind of building an identity graph based on email, right? I would not argue that this is super privacy safe. And they're going to get a lot of brands, they're going to try to get a lot of brands to share their private data, hopefully with some differential privacy or some masking of private data in the middle there so that people's private data doesn't get handed all over the place.
Okay, staying with privacy, the big topic IDFA and mobile ad companies have formed the No IDFA, No Problem Alliance.
Bingo, bingo. That's what we're talking about today. We have all not heard enough, right, about iOS 14 and IDFA. It's been the topic for half a year now, and it's just ramping right now.
Yeah.
Really, quite seriously, though, it is important. We are going to dive in. We've got some amazing people, got some amazing insight coming up. And you know what? I was impressed by this actually because Liftoff sort of spearheaded this. They brought in a lot of people to do this no IDFA, no problem alliance. They got a lot of press on it. They got Reuters talking about it. They got a lot of other big outlets talking about this. So that was impressive. But we're going to enjoy this process. We're going to have some fun having this show and looking forward to the rest of it. Peggy, I'm sure we have some guests to chat about this stuff. Who are they? Can you introduce them?
Absolutely. We've got Dennis, VP of Marketing at Liftoff. We've got Offer, President of Fyber. Sergio Serra, Head of Product Management at InMobi. And last not least, we have Gotti, CEO, Singular.
Excellent. Welcome, everybody. So, we are looking for your insights. We give extra points for people who are interesting. Boring people get voted off the island. Sorry about that. As well as people who don't laugh at my jokes or Peggy's jokes. Dennis, I'm going to kick it off with you. Tell us one thing even your spouse does not know about you.
Okay, I actually put a lot of thought into this in the last day or two. So I'm going to date myself here. Back in the mid 90s, starting in the early 90s, I was a big, giant Apple fanboy. Mid 90s, I moved to New York City. I started working in the IT world, working for BCG specifically. And I found myself like this is the period where Windows released Windows 95. And all these corporations began migrating from Macs to Windows. And I was sitting in the middle of it. And I hated it. And so I was following Guy Kawasaki, who was the chief evangelist at the time for Apple, and I was part of his crew. And I would do things like I would go out to bookstores, if you remember those, and I'd go to the magazine racks section, and I'd go and I'd find all the Mac magazines which are typically buried, and I'd bring them all to the front of the computer magazine rack. So as you would walk by, you'd see all these Mac magazines in the front, doing my best to fight the good fight.
There was a time when every time Apple was mentioned, it was preceded by the word beleaguered. So that is really weird, but we appreciate that fact and thank you for sharing. Hey, you started this no IDFA, no problem alliance. Why? What's your goal?
So, I mean, to put simply, when Apple announced the news last year about, making privacy a priority and making access to IDFA an opt-in experience, I would describe that period up until September as incredibly noisy. You had, all the companies, so many companies in the industry and agencies and others going out and dispensing a lot of advice as best they could. And it was a lot of noise. And it was, so as an advertiser or marketer, even sitting in my position, it was very hard to make sense of what to do, what to think about all this. And then they said, okay, we'll delay it. And it was at that point I thought, if we can come together as an industry and we can work together to educate the marketers and the advertisers around the changes and try to just take a more holistic approach, so you're talking supply, demand, and measurement, talking holistically, I thought that would be potentially a much better approach to supporting the industry through a successful transition to this more privacy centric future on iOS. That was really the driver of it.
Cool, cool.
Mhm.
Quick follow-up. You've got this really neat tool that tracks SKAd network compatible supply, and that looks like a real problem right now. It's under 20%. If it frankly sucks. Where can people find that tool, and how is this going to improve?
Yeah, so I think it's quite interesting. So we as an industry, like collectively, are all impacted by what we see as like the number one issue right now, which is the majority of supply that companies like Liftoff buy through suppliers like Fyber and InMobi and Vungle. The majority of that supply right now is not it's not SKAd network compatible or SCAN compatible. The reason why is because the app publishers who are monetizing through advertising have yet to update all of their ad network SDKs. So the moment Apple drops iOS 14.5 and we expect to see pretty quick adoption, the majority of ad impressions for those apps that do not update their SDKs, we will not be able to buy, right? So the pool of inventory is going to be a whole lot smaller. And then what's going to happen? CPMs are going to be very expensive. CPIs are going to be very expensive. Performance is going to really take a hit for the advertiser. So the priority right now for us as an industry, doesn't really matter what side you are on, is to get the app publishers who monetize through advertising to update their SDKs. That is really the priority. So on the Liftoff website a while back, we launched this tool. We call it a mobile app performance tracker. You can go to liftoff.io. It's right there off the homepage. We recently added, about a couple weeks ago, we added the ability to track the percent of SCAN compatible inventory. So it's like SCAN compatible bid requests is what we're tracking. I think as of last week, we're at 16.7% of all bid requests are SCAN compatible. And then we also added the ability to track IDFA versus non-IDFA traffic. So if all the traffic that Liftoff is now seeing and able to bid on, we can see what percentage of that traffic does not have an IDFA versus does. So, and you can subscribe to it. We are making a big push over the next couple months. For us, this is going to be the priority, is supporting the industry and support, to get publishers to update their SDKs.
Awesome. Awesome. And Peggy, you've got some questions for Cy, but Cy is learning the consequences of being last to the party here. He's down at the very bottom of the screen there, and his name is invisible. Maybe reintroduce him when you ask the question.
Absolutely. Cy, good to have you here. Cy Crowhurst, VP, Creative Labs at Vungle. And before we kick off with some questions, just want to understand a little bit about you. So tell us, what would be the one thing that we need to know about you, not even on LinkedIn?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me, and sorry to have technical issues. My Snap camera and filters, it tells you a bit about me in my spare time. So apologies for that once again. So one fun fact about me, so lockdown, I think I followed all the trends and all the memes from banana loaves and sourdoughs and so on and so forth. But I do make a really mean orange and almond cake, which has been going down a storm when people have visited at distance outside my house.
Mm-hmm. And it's out there, a recipe, everything?
Yes, it is. I can share it with anyone who asks me.
Well, I want you to share something else. So you're in no IDFA. So no IDFA, no problem. But can we really take it literally? I mean, is it really, as you're saying, not a problem, no problem for mobile marketers?
Well, yes, that's the idea. I think the place we start from this, Dennis and I had a conversation recently about this very thing, historically, sort of like the pending doom about no IDFA. And we think, if you believe, as I do passionately, that privacy is ultimately a good thing, we're all consumers, then this is coming, and we can really sort of pivot the way we think about it from it being doom and gloom to a space where let's work together, let's come together as an alliance and talk about what you can do and guide people along that journey.
So this is dead for sure. This is the way it is. You can take it to the bank, cash it in.
Well, I say, it's early days, it's not dropped yet, but we've been preparing for a while. It's not new information, it's been delayed. We have invested internally at Vungle within this with our products and, our capabilities, lots of testing to make sure we're compliant. But like anything, there will be some pending changes. We just hope being together and talking about it and educating is going to help us all, pass through that together.
Okay, so I'm just going to continue. Offer, you're up next. One thing we don't know about you. So if you weren't in mobile marketing, you would be in what? Fill in the blank.
Oh, wow. I've been doing ad tech for like 18 years. Since my army service, we in Israel, we go to the army. So age of 18, I go to the army, I serve for 4 years. And then what do? A startup for mobile advertising in 2007, serving ads in Nokia devices. So that's pretty much the only thing I know. But I want to believe that if it wasn't ad tech, I can see myself living in a farm. Like imagine like a big farm, like living stock, like horses, maybe a lake. Now, granted, I have zero skills to live in a farm. Like I know it for sure, but I want to believe that that's what I would be doing.
You can learn everything on YouTube. Everything.
That's true.
Absolutely. So you've been doing programmatic, as we said, iOS 14.5, not dropped yet. Biggest challenge, you've said it as well, biggest challenge for marketers that they aren't even realizing it yet. What do you mean by that?
I mean, look, money is always the last to follow. We can prepare, we can set this all up, we can have SCAD adoption, but until the marketers wake up one day and realize, oh, damn, IDFA is really gone, only then we'll have this big mind shift. Okay, what do? We have so many alternatives, a contextual targeting, SCAD. We as platforms are maybe for the first time collaborating so nicely together to prepare. But until those budgets will come, I mean, that's when it really begins. And guys, this is not like a small change, right? No IDFA could be no problem if we work together as an industry. But it's a big mind shift. everything going to change. Targeting is different. Attribution is different, right, Gadi? I mean, everything will have to change, and it's going to be a massive wave of companies coming together. So it's not like something that's going to happen, just overnight.
Mm-hmm. Well, your guys are obviously coming together. So just a quick follow-up. You say we all have to come together. We have to work together. How are you solving it, Ofer?
So, for instance, together with the, most of the friends here, we released a set of contextual parameters, non-identified, non-personal parameters to better describe the impression. And people walk and ask, tell me, how is it? I mean, how is contextual? Like, guys, it's still shit. Nobody's using it, right? It's going to take time until we see the impact when, again, marketers actually start to use it, when publishers actually start to use it. So we can give the tools, but just going back to the farm, you have to use it. And I think we have another quarter or two until this giant, impressive industry will wake up to a new dawn and say, okay, we get it. IDFA is really dead. 20% opt-in, 15% opt-in. It's like the equivalent of zero. Something has to change.
Well, that's so interesting. That's going to be the most interesting thing in the next couple of months is how good can contextual get, right? There's, is it going to be 10%, 20%, 30% less effective than what we have right now? We'll have to see that. We'll have to learn. Some breaking news, by the way, we haven't even released it yet. We've done some surveys, some research, and 40% of the people that I surveyed said they would opt in for IDFA if it was a known brand. So we're releasing that probably next week. So we'll share that with you guys. Sergio, you are up. And it's kind of interesting. Peggy told me that because of your Italian background, Olive Garden is your favorite restaurant where you like to order American style fettuccine Alfredo. Is that correct?
Oh my God. So first of all, if you ever go to Italy, never ask for fettuccine Alfredo because people will be like, who is Alfredo? And it's funny because actually there are so many fake Italian receipts here that do not exist at all in Italy. And like you have stuff like chicken parmigiana, garlic bread, or chicken and pasta, Jesus. But yeah, that's stuff that doesn't really belong to us. And the first time when I moved here 2 years ago, so before COVID, my colleagues soon came to realize that I was a little bit peculiar about food, right? And so they were like, oh, you know what? Let's go to the best Italian restaurant here in LA. And I was like happy. I'm like, yeah, of course. Needless to say that the restaurant was Olive Garden. So that was probably my first and last time. But yeah, that's funny. That's one of the experiences that Italian people have to go through here in the US. Probably one of the fewer downsides.
It's a tough life. It's a tough life. We're all very sad for you. We feel for you. Yeah. You have said that the biggest marketing nightmare right now is no IDFA supply. What are you doing about it?
Yeah, I think multiple things. I mean, as a product manager, of course, I'm making sure to work with my team on enabling, ScanAd network, which is a protocol that natively wasn't really built by Apple to support the programmatic needs. So we are really trying, along with my team and everybody here on the call, as well as IAB, to create specs that can allow that transaction to happen seamlessly. And so that's one logical thing. Second thing is that we are trying to work towards further enhancing that IDFA-enabled supply that will survive. For instance, providing alternative IDs, still in the spirit of Apple, of course, only when the consent is there. And this will allow, cross-channel targeting, for instance. And then, of course, we are also working towards augmenting contextual signals via, OMSDK or what Ofer mentioned already. So, these are the things that must be done by any SSP, I believe. The other part of the equation, of course, is the demand side. So you need to work with DSPs that actually understanding the ramifications of this change, Liftoff being one of them. But we know today that there are many big players that are taking a reactive approach. And they are banking instead on the fact that budgets will be reallocated towards other channels. But hey, I don't think this is accurate. At the end of the day, ROAS is the antonomasia of iOS users. So you can't really remove iOS users from your media planning.
No, although some people have tried and said that they're going to focus on Android, and that may be valid for different certain verticals. It may be very, very challenging for others. One piece of critical advice for mobile marketers from you?
I think, yeah, I think, as I said, they need to make sure to work with DSPs that are actually, building support for SKAd network and for contextual targeting. Secondly, I would say if you haven't done already, which I doubt at this point, but if you haven't, definitely start testing and familiarizing with a non-IDFA world. So this means, for instance, targeting app categories as opposed to IDFAs, or contextual is another option, as we said. So I think testing is the key here, and then get used to a new normal, which will not be necessarily as accurate as the existing one on IDFA, which is deterministic by definition. But still, at the end of the day, we went through this even with GDPR, right? So at the beginning, it was like an apocalypse for everybody. But over time, eventually, the situation got better and better. So I'm positive that as long as both demand and supply work together, there shouldn't be a problem for future.
Okay, Gotti, you're up next. And you have an interesting background because you started working on SKAd network solution back in 2019, which is a super smart move. I don't know if you made the move as well to take a huge, massive personal investment in Apple, but maybe you want to tell us about that? Got a bet on that one, or something we don't know?
Man, I wish I was that smart in investing. It's funny because I feel like all my friends are like way smarter than me in investing. And even when I made a smart choice of like buying Bitcoin, not too long ago, but it did go up. I sold it because I wanted to, like, I don't know, I had to move some money around, and then it exploded, and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like just making really bad investment decisions. But I just realized I'm just going to focus. I usually put 100% of my investment theories into my work, and so that's where I spend most of my time. So maybe Wall Street is not waiting for me just yet, but hopefully we can predict what's happening in mobile marketing.
I was gonna say, or Reddit. Gotti. No, but seriously, so you made a bet, you made it early on. Why so early? What told you?
Yeah, it's a great question. Honestly, in the beginning, it was just because it was interesting. The industry was kind of boring. Solutions got commoditized, and this was invigorating in a way. And it was also scary because the first version was horrible. Like SKAd Network 1.0, it was like, this is the death of everybody when we just saw it. So I felt like we got to talk about it. And it just had all the attributes of creating this massive change to the industry. It just seemed like something that could be so fundamentally different. And initially, I didn't know how well it's going to go. I started this mobile attribution privacy group. We invited a bunch of companies. We started a Slack channel, and it's funny. It was like, I don't know, 20 people in the beginning. It was kind of boring. Like no one cared. And I even had meetings internally, and John probably remembers, where we were like, what do we do with this forum? Because we gotta give it some content, because otherwise people are just gonna get bored. And then, but we were kind of knowing that it's coming, and kept researching internally what would that mean, and we were reverse engineering the first version of SKAd Network to figure out what does that even do. And then obviously, was it June 22nd, July 22nd? Like, I don't know, the date that changed everything, and Apple announced that they're going full force with that. And since then, everything exploded. Like that became the hot topic. That Slack channel, which I invite everybody to, is like, I don't know, 2,500 people, almost 2,000, I don't know, 2,200. So it's just a ton of people. And
this is a measurement CEO here, gentlemen.
Yeah. I'm using software. I don't trust people to count, so that's okay. And then why do we do it so long? It's really hard to get it right. And we have a lot of discussions internally about where should we focus as a company right now. And something our CTO, one of my co-founders, always says is we got to focus on the basics, because the basics are going to matter a lot. And you think about the basics, it's like, we just got to make sure people can even do their job. Can you acquire customers? Do you have the reporting that you need? Are you not exposing yourself to fraud? Or really just can you connect the data to the BI? We've done a ton of work internally on SKAd Network, and I think we've done a great job for our customers, like building advanced systems really quickly and kind of leading there. But it's not even up to us. There's still so many challenges. Like there's bugs with SKAd Network. You don't even understand certain things that that privacy thresholds are difficult. There's a big question about adoption. Like, Dennis mentioned that you're looking at the bid requests that are coming with SKA network, but there's another issue. Like, if the publisher doesn't implement the P-list correctly, and I know we're getting a bit technical, it's not even going to work, and they don't even know. So, like, how do we even debug that? There's like so many fundamental questions, and also it's fast moving, because just a couple weeks ago, Apple released view through attribution, and suddenly that changes things. And so, very interesting. I think investing in the early was. I'm happy we've done that. That was a wise decision, but there's just so much ahead of us. So yeah, just got to stay focused.
Peggy, I want to say kudos to Gadi for starting the MAP Slack channel back last summer. It was a great source and really helped all of us come together. So Gadi, thank you for that.
Thank you guys for being active and making it meaningful.
Awesome. Well, you know what? All work and no play makes mobile marketers very, very dull. And so we got a couple games here. They are very competitive. We are keeping score. People will be humiliated. Probably me, possibly Peggy, or Dennis. It doesn't matter. Any one of us is totally fine. And first one is macronym. Okay, like there are not enough acronyms in mobile marketing, right? So you got to think of one the others won't know. You got 3 guesses, and you do get to ask for a clue. Dennis, you're kicking this off. I need you to give me an acronym you think Offer doesn't know.
Okay, so AGB.
AGD?
AGB, as in boy. A little bit of background. When I first joined Liftoff, every week, here's my clue. Every week, at the end of the week, we would all stand together in a circle, and we would share our weekly wins. And when there was a big win that was brand new, we would say AGB.
I was
average growth bullshit. Go ahead, Offer.
No, I was about to say like an average growth bandwidth, but no, now with the context, it's something else. It's like
awesome, great business. I don't know, amazingly great business.
Right. It's like celebrating something brand new, a milestone, right? Achieving something. It could be anything that's just like, hey, we hit a milestone, or we released something, or we got coverage. We call it an AGB moment.
We're drawing blanks here. Dennis, you have to give us the answer.
Yeah.
All right. It's Alexander Graham Bell.
What the?
Oh, man.
Right?
No.
Because he invented so many things, and so we call it an AGB moment. Oh, fair. I thought
you and your culture, you're killing me, man.
Okay, that was almost unfair. That was so specific, and nobody would ever know that. Sergio, perhaps you can come up with something even more unfair. Tell me an acronym you think Psy does not know.
Okay, I won't be that bad. I think BTFR.
BTFI.
What's the context?
Ads.
BTFI. I think you've stumped the panel, my friend. Psy, any clues?
BTFR.
No, I don't know an answer to that.
Big thing for installs.
No.
BTFI. Big thing.
Sergio, take us out of our misery.
I know. It's a metric for no.
Close enough. So below the fold rate. So it's the number of impressions that are actually below the fold.
Say it again one more time.
Below the fold rate. So
below the fold rate. Wow.
Rate, yeah.
Peggy, I've never heard that one. Have you?
Below the BTFR, so it's BTFR.
Yeah, I thought it's BTFI.
I did too. You did it wrong. You lose 10 points on that. No Lambo for you, sir. Holy cow! You screwed up your own acronym.
but that's
it was too complicated even for me to remember.
Okay, Offer. It's your turn to shine. Give me an acronym that you think Dennis doesn't know.
So I'm debating because you will never know it. So look, what is NAX? NAX. NAX.
The context is mobile marketing, right?
Indeed.
Wow.
But remember, I'm old.
Next.
Dennis, any clues?
I don't expect you to know.
I'm trying to. Does the X stand for exchange?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Does the A stand for average?
Add.
Or available?
No.
Available, add, average,
Ad exchange?
average. So I got average
Add.
No, ad exchange.
Oh,
So what?
ad
N?
exchange. So
exchange.
N is a network ad exchange.
Mm-mm.
That's a good guess. Offer, give us the answer.
Guys, remember in 07 when we started Interactive before iOS,
Nokia ad exchange?
Symbian and J2Me, we launched the first
Oh,
Nokia Ad Exchange. And if you were back then, go to nokia.com/nax. That was actually Interactive white labeling the Nokia
no.
Ad Exchange in 07, 08.
Wow.
It was terrible.
Offer did give us all a clue. He did say he was old. So Nokia ad exchange. Wow. Holy cow. That is a great one. Gotti, it's your turn to stump Peggy and I. You know, we're the dumbest people on the panel. So we get two brains to kind of make one.
That's gonna be good.
So you give us an acronym that you think will stump us.
It done Google. Because this one, I just read it and I was like, holy shit, that's how they came up with the name. So I ran across the term turtle dove. Does anyone know what turtle dove mean? It came up with Google.
It's a bird.
Yeah, bird.
I thought it's some nice name for a project. Apparently, no, it's an acronym. So
Dove.
you can guess what turtle dove. I could type that in the chat because it is a hard one.
Turtle Dove is an acronym, really?
Yes, that was my reaction as well. I thought it's like a turtle.
You know, we
Dude,
wanted an
unbelievable,
acronym that's like a
ridiculous.
3-word acronym or something.
Three
You gave
letter.
us like a paragraph.
What is the Gotti? What is the? Just give us the first letter. What does the first letter stand for?
Yeah.
2. The number 2. Yeah, you're never gonna guess. It's horrible. It's really a horrible acronym.
Okay, put us out of our misery.
I just read it. And I'm like, is there like a naming committee at Google? But so apparently, this is kind of reminds me of SK Network, because like totally privacy engineers make up names. So this is 2 uncorrelated requests, then locally executed decision on victory. What? Yeah. That's why I
First time, Gotti.
That was 99th percentile difficulty, Gotti. That was a totally unfair one. I'm almost kicking you out of the forum for that one, but I won't. It's all good. No worries. You got us. Okay, now second game. This is Minder. It's like Tinder, but it's for mobile marketers only. So I mean, all the choices are horrible, but just joking. Okay, offer. What politician does Dennis secretly swipe right on?
Oh my God. There's no good way to answer this question.
Yes, there is. The worst one you can think of.
Hold on. Well,
fine. I'm jumping in. Angela Merkel. You're swiping right, Dennis. It's done deal. Done deal. Peggy told me secret love.
How did you know?
Saw the data. We got it. It's off. Ofer minus 10 points for not having something ready. All good. Maybe we'll keep you on if you're nice. Sai, turning to you. Sai. Oh, we can only see half of you, but half is enough. Hopefully we have the smart half. What rock star does Sergio secretly want to date?
Oh,
Wow.
what rock star? I think Marine Le Pen.
Is that a rock star or is that a French politician?
That's a French politician I was dressing as a rock star. No, I think it.
Maybe I don't know enough about rock stars. Awesome. Dennis, we're setting you up. Actually, we're setting Peggy up. We're setting you up too, but we're setting you up by you setting Peggy up. What CEO is she going on a date with and who's telling her husband?
That is very easy. It's offer.
Oh, wow. And will their phone location data put them in the same place if we check all that stuff? Wow. Okay.
Well, I am sort of now thinking, since his name does mean Bambi, it sort of gets me right here.
You have to see me cook, Peggy. You have to see me cook.
Awesome.
Is that
Gotti,
fine
you
with
are the
you?
last one. Gotti, you are the last one on the hot seat here, and we're getting personal, so just brace yourself here. If your wife could date one rock star, who would it be?
Oh wow. Robbie Williams.
Robbie Williams.
Not a lot of people know him, but he's pretty popular in Europe and Israel.
Okay. Good.
He's looking good. I can see
Very
it.
good.
Yeah.
Last game. And then we will be serious again, because this is serious and it is serious business, and we need to do serious work and inform people about important, serious stuff. So we're going to play a game. It's called Marketing Mogul, and you have ultimate power. One wish that comes true instantly. It's in the world of marketing. It's in the world of advertising. Gotti, you are first up. Apple has to do one thing that you want. They have to. They must do it. What do you want?
Wow. Bring back IDFA.
We have Gotti on record. Excellent. He didn't even ask for like $1 of their $1 billion. I mean, come on. You said you're crappy at investing. Here you would have solved all that in one fell swoop.
You're right.
Dennis, Google is at your mercy. What must they do?
I would say allow us to bid off of their search inventory.
Wow. Allow us to bid off their search inventory. Excellent. Sai, you are up. You can change one thing about Facebook. What would you change?
Oh, facilitating sort of like hate speech and fake news,
In other words, getting rid of it.
or being smarter about it. And that's a big topic, and I'll leave it at that.
That is a big topic, and it is a tough one as well. Offer. Mobile phones have one new feature globally. All iOS phones, all Android phones, mobile phones have one new feature globally across the entire world. What is it?
I want to be able to just tap on my phone without even looking at it and understand what they want from me. Just beam it to me. Just, I don't need to do like this all the time. This is just a time waste. Just find a way, Elon Musk, just get it here. Save us the trouble of picking this up.
Not a problem. Just requires about 2 months in hospital, a hole in your skull. Not a problem whatsoever. Little radio there. I happen to have the remote control for that as well, and I can play you like a video game. Awesome.
Now that IDFA
Thank
is
you.
gone, I'm relaxed. You can just, get straight to my brain. It's all good.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. Now, hey, enough fun and games. This is serious business, right, Peggy? We have a few more questions here. Peggy, take it away.
Okay. This is for anybody out there. All right. So, what percentage of app publishers will ask for tracking consent? What do you think? How's it shaping up?
I think majority will once Facebook did it.
Everybody that relies on advertising. So 85% of the publishers.
So Sergio says everyone. Wow. Offer your percentage. What do you think?
I think everyone as well. I mean, advertising or not, I think it will become just the standard, and Apple will make it quite damn hard not to.
Wow. Wow. Sai, you agree?
No, provocatively, I think 50%.
Excellent. Diversity is a good thing. Second question, again, open to whoever takes it. What percentage of consumers will say yes?
25%.
Dennis?
I actually think it's going to be. I think it has to be higher than that. I'm sitting at around 50%, and I'll tell you, what I think is going to happen is you're going to have some really large publishers that have a lot of large titles that many of us use, and they're going to do a great job of getting us to opt in at a higher rate. And I think that it'll set the stage for like the longer tail, where when they prompt us to opt in, I think a greater percentage of people will just opt in by default because they've already done it with the apps that they trust. And so I think that there will be a bit of a halo effect there.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that for me, the biggest thing that happened was Facebook saying they will show the pop-up because they're going to educate billions people. And then I'm guessing like 40% is my guess.
I think Facebook showing the ATT is actually not a good thing for us because people love to hate Facebook and they will click no. And once they click no to Facebook, they will click no to all the rest. I have a 14-year-old daughter and she was around me in one of those calls and I showed her the pop-up and I asked like, Look, are you going to click? And like, no. So no.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Go ahead, Sergio.
Yeah, I mean, before the media terroristic attack about privacy, probably I would have agreed with Dennis on 40-50%. now I think we are more on the 25%, and maybe over time things will get forgotten, and hopefully we can lean towards that.
Okay. So what do you think is going to happen to app ad revenue in April? Up, down? Anyone take a guess? Maybe start with you, Dennis.
So we're talking about app ad revenue, meaning like
Ad monetization in apps.
Yeah.
God, it's going to be very interesting. I expect that we will go through a 2 to 3 month period, like this transition period, where people are adopting 14.5 and supply will be catching up. So I think that there will be a hit on the revenue side, but I do expect that it'll probably be around early Q3 that we'll start to see a recovery. That would be my. So I percentage wise, I don't really know, but I do expect in the short term there will be a hit until supply catches up and marketers are getting comfortable with the new normal.
Anyone else?
I agree with Dennis. I think we should expect like 1 or 2 soft quarters until a slow recovery.
Yeah, I think from a marketplace perspective, a couple of things will happen. So IDFA CPM will go super high. Non-IDFA fee rate and the CPM will go down. So the two things will not match. Probably overall iOS revenue will go down for a while. Android revenue will go up for a bit. And probably, for the next 2 quarters, I would take some iOS revenue hit for everybody in the ecosystem. But over time, that should be fully recovered.
Good. We already got an answer to the next question, really, in some of the discussion we had before. I was wondering if there would be a flight to Android. And actually, Sergio, you just mentioned it, perhaps for a couple quarters. Others mentioned, well, you can't ignore iOS. That's where the high value customers are. And so, Peggy, maybe jump to the last question.
All right. How will smart marketers continue to win? What is their strategy? What are the options?
Just embrace it. Don't try to stick to your 20% IDFA or whatnot, and whatever understand that there is SCAD, the technicalities, and then there is how do I market in a non-identified world. Again, creative context, everything we talked about. The ones who will win are people who today start to experiment and ask the questions and get the data, because again, it's coming and you have to be prepared.
Yeah, I'd say with my creative hat on, I think smart marketers have really embraced the ever-increasing importance of the creative, right? The ability to replace some of the targeting that's lost. And I think also contextual, we talked about before, and also probabilistic, not to be confused with fingerprinting or anything that goes against Apple's privacy, but starting to use different ways to learn and measure.
Yeah, I think testing is really the key here. I mean, at the end of the day, upper and mid funnel campaigns, I think they are going to be fine, because still the KPIs marketers look at are more like CTRs, conversions, viewability. So nothing changes that. Of course, when you look at more granular KPIs, there will be some ground to test. So SKR network will definitely help, but I'm sure that other means as well will be fun.
Yeah, I think companies need to think of their data differently. They need to get their house in order, but then also realize that there's going to be more advanced analytics that they need to apply now, and they need to use machine learning more to try and predict certain values. Or it's just everybody needs to step up their game. That's kind of the cost of privacy, is you need to be a bit more statistical in your analysis, but it's also exciting. So companies to be able to innovate there will have an advantage for sure.
Yeah, I would just add, so taking a testing approach, yes, really going after it rather than running away from it, or even just sitting back and taking a wait and see approach, you will be putting yourself at a very serious disadvantage. There is a learning curve to all this, and the longer you wait to start going after it, the further you will fall behind relative to your competitors. And lastly, because I've had many conversations with friends and colleagues on the advertising marketing side, and I've talked to some people. They said, geez, I don't really know if maybe I'll put more into Android. The reality is Android are different users than iOS users, and the iOS users aren't going away. It's just your ability to sort of ultimately attribute, your marketing activity against performance becomes more challenging. But keep in mind that it's just like as we are going into this, iOS 14.5 drops. Guess what's going to happen? You still have 14.4 and below. Run your campaigns against that. Set up a separate campaign against 14.5 users. And, so I think there's a really big opportunity to really go after it, but you have to not sit on the sidelines, not wait. And you're just going to slow down for you and your team, that learning curve. And that will really put you at a disadvantage.
That makes a ton of sense. Okay, guys, we've been working really, really hard. It's time for a little bit of fun right now. We didn't tell you everything when you signed up for this. Of course, nobody ever does, right? I mean, if you sign up in the Army, they don't tell you what's going to happen, right? They just tell you to sign up. So we have a budget for this show, which is for a private investigator. And we have employed that person, and he has been very busy, in fact. So we have a couple stories that are relevant here. We got this one from Dennis's wife. So apparently Dennis thought that his wife might be going deaf, right? So he went up, just behind her, and he kind of softly whispered, "Honey, can you hear me?" And nothing happened, right? Didn't get a response. So he took a step forward to get a little closer, and soft said, "Honey, can you hear me?" And she didn't say anything again. And finally he goes right up behind his wife and says, "Honey, can you hear me?" She turns around and says for the third time, "Yes." So yeah, perhaps Dennis is the one that's at fault here. By the way, if you don't laugh, I kick you off the island. So no, just joking about that. But we also have a story that Ofer told us about Sergio. So, Sergio, you are going to get a little exposed here, and it might have something to do with your Italian heritage. I don't know, might be a little Greek. I'm not, we'll see, right? So apparently Sergio went into a bar, he ordered a martini, right? But before drinking it, he took the olive out and he put it in a jar. It's really weird. What the heck? What's going on? Ordered another martini after he finished it. He does the same thing. After an hour, Sergio's pretty stuffed full of martinis, right? And the jar is full of olives, and he leaves. And the bartender says to Afer, who's still there, right, hanging around, just watching this whole thing, laughing, "That was so weird. That's the strangest thing ever. What's going on there?" And Afer says, "That's not weird. That's normal. His spouse sent him out for a jar of olives." He got the olives, he got the martinis, and he's all good. Awesome. I just want to thank all of you for joining and participating. You have been amazing. You've been wonderful. You've been insightful. You have even been humorous. Some have participated really, really well. They will get the Lambo coupon in the mail. Don't wait for it. It'll come. Relax. Don't worry. No worries. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
It's fun. Thanks a lot.
So, Peggy, this is Mobile Heroes Uncensored, and we're talking about a lot of things about mobile and what's going on, what's happening. We're also talking about and talking with mobile heroes, and you've got some news on past mobile heroes. Love to hear it.
You bet, John. Have I got news for you? So, first up, we have Janie Parasini, a badass marketer at EA.
Yes, she is.
Absolutely, but with a big heart, you have to say. And she tells us about her new Power Woman tattoo. No news on where it is, right? But we always know she has our back. So I'm sure we'll be hearing more, and more power to you, Janie. Another amazing marketer, always helping women in marketing find their voice. Cassie Chernin, Director of UA over at Scopely, reveals she is moving over to Mango Mint, B2B, not B2C, heading up marketing there. And if you're not booking a haircut using Mango Mint, then you have to reach out to her. But I just thought, John, you probably won't.
No, I won't. But you know what? It's amazing how many B2B companies are picking up B2C marketers because they know what's going on.
Yeah, I was looking at her feed and she was like, "Guess what, guys? Right in front of IDFA, I'm off to B2B, so I won't go there." But you can imagine there might be a little bit of an exodus out of B2C, and maybe not. But staying with Scopely, right? We've got Margarita Vasilevskaya. She is Senior Director of UA over there, and she is thrilled, and we are thrilled with their latest Ellen game featured by Apple. So check it out there. Absolutely. So big congrats to the Scopely team. Staying with big wins, we've got Playtika. And when they celebrated their IPO, well, hey, it made it a super special day. And we got a super size Harry Beanstalk. There you go, being the big man, literally, in Times Square. Bumble also had some great news. They had a great start on NASDAQ. You saw that.
Also on NASDAQ, yes.
Yeah, it's like everybody and stocks up. I don't know about you, John, but I was thinking, well, okay. But they're celebrating. They're having a great time. And Solange Baki, she is growth marketing manager there. She's thinking about celebrating too, but hey, she sends us a special message. She's thinking also about a new pub opening next to her building with a beautiful view of Canary Wharf. Speaking for us all, I suppose, John, because she can't wait to get into the pub and we can't wait to have some good times. So we're with you, Solange. Now, before I close, the cute alarm for guys, John, Paula Neves, product manager at Square Enix. Paula is a new mother as of January. Alice was born in January. I made a note of that because that's a Capricorn, just like Elvis, just like myself. Family's doing great. Lovely pics. I want to draw your attention to the crochet Converse sneakers there.
Wow, right
That's
here.
a cute moment, isn't that? That's one of these. There you go. So there we have it. Hot Heroes news. And remember, John, you heard it here first.
I certainly did. Thank you so much, Peggy.
Back to you, John.
Wonderful. This has been the very first edition of Mobile Heroes Uncensored. I think it was pretty good. Obviously, Peggy went way over the line. If you agree, the Better Business Bureau has a helpline to call. You can give them a little tip. It's all good. No worries. After you've done that, do not forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And of course, hook up with Liftoff on social and YouTube to never miss an episode. I think you'll be happy that you did. Peggy says you'll be sad, but one of us will be right. Who knows? For Peggy, for Liftoff, and for the kid who gave me a bloody nose in 3rd grade, have a great day and don't take work or life too seriously.